What's your thoughts on what people perceive when they say matrix as this covering, this barrier that's been placed on the earth from, we'll call it the dark ones?
What's my perception of that matrix?
What's your, yes, yeah.
Okay.
From your perspective, is it what people deem it to be, or is it something totally different?
Well, I think I don't have all the answers, but I have a perception, and that is that everything in the earth is built upon these grid matrix structures, right? Each timeline that has reigned or existed has brought forth one of these gridding templates that really has come through the history of the creation of our universe, has come through planetary warfare, even because of how Earth even was created in the first place. So, we had the first universe, which was the Tiamat body. And this refers to even, Sitchin's works. I'm going Sitchin a little bit here, but, we had this lunar warfare between Nibiru and Tiamat's moons, and they imploded. And so what was left of that and the remnants of that created the Earth core, the Earth body. That was kind of like the first template, right? This represents a mental body, how we think. This is kind of like the first human's mentality or consciousness. So you could think of that as a matrix in itself. Then, there's also other templates that were created during those implosions, right? That embodied in the earth. So we have Nibiru, we have Marduk, we have Maldek. Those were the original mental bodies of the Atlantean time, which really brought in the warfare, brought in the narcissism, brought in the fall of man, brought in the invasions, the intruders, so Atlantis really is kind of where the fear matrix was ultimately implanted during the Lemurian Holocaust. So when we were kind of switching into these timeline phases, essentially.
So thank you. So, okay, so let me ask you this then. Could it be as simple as they planted the idea that there's a matrix and that's the con?
Very well could be. I have been, yeah.
And here's where personally I'm at this stage, because we've all been through the past couple of years of everything that's been going on, and my evolution is changing. My thought pattern is changing, and my thought pattern is now changing into something. Maybe it's a hoax. Maybe it's all a hoax. Maybe it's because we're believing that we've been brainwashed to believe there's this matrix that is infiltrating the world. And if you believe it, you create it. So essentially, wouldn't it be our own thoughts that are creating this? I'm going to call it a fictitious, for lack of term right now, this fictitious matrix that's suppressing people.
Yes, and I would say yes and no. Within one's own understanding of self, you can release those. You can live free. You can live in limitation. I mean, I tell you, when 2020, when all the crazy, La Cucaracha was going down, I mean, I was traveling, while everybody else was in like fear and stuff. So I was flying through things like weren't really bothering me, because I had transcended a lot of these things.
So you just didn't embrace that,
right? Which is really confirming what I'm saying. You just for 1 second, if you don't mind, you didn't allow that frequency to enter into your reality, so therefore it wasn't a part of your reality.
And I also think it's an attunement process too. You're attuning your DNA to higher levels of consciousness. So that also builds a spiritual immunity within you as well. You gain actual immunity.
A spiritual immunity, I like it.
Is existence then?
That's very clever.
Is existence simply a game of sorts? You know, are we, like you said, like, hey, I'm not react to this. I'm just going to kind of cruise through or whatever. Like, you know, you can choose to play the game. I mean, do you?
Well, according to the Atlantean mental bodies and timelines, it's on a checkerboard. It is on a game. It's on a chess game. Okay. Yes. I do think though there are nets or fences that collectively do corral humanity under certain limitations by particular types of technologies, such as weather modification, chemtrailing, particle accelerators, CERN, you know what I mean? Degradation of the magnetic and weakening of the field. These are all things that are going to create more amnesia and disorient the human mind from being able to stay more in the 0 point field. But, you know, it's all about your sovereignty and the life that you create for yourself and how far you're willing to go for those things to continue to get to spaces and places in this earth that you are getting much more to that level of freedom.
When you take a look at your sisters and brothers out there that are putting messages out, and I don't mean the mainstream media, I'm talking to someone like yourself who's in the street and really trying to help people get through it all. Are there things that you know from your perspective, your interpretation, you're like, you know, a lot of this is being said. I really wish it wouldn't be said, you know, but you're seeing it. What is an example of some of the things that you know that we're hearing, you know what I mean, that really things that people just need to stop. You know what I mean? Maybe stop paying attention to it. Maybe stop even saying it. Are there any of those things that run through your mind?
Oh, immediately things come to my mind. Yes. I've always been someone who's kind of openly, publicly have spoken out against like Galactic Federation, intergalactic federations of world, Ashtar Command, all of these things, because I think there's a lot of inception. There's a lot of controlled opposition, controlled narrative. There's higher levels of organizations that I think infiltrate these communities to, you know, push forward particular higher consciousness narratives and also train people in these narratives to reject other types of narratives to create warfare in the disclosure communities. And you can see that there's a lot of that actually plays out between people all the time. And so it creates a lot of division versus unity, and also a lot of, you know, incoherent energy and just lack of discernment pulls people away from their gnosis. And that's the issue with a lot of these higher spiritual technologies anyways, is that people get, I call them ascended egos. Okay. We forget about how much the ego actually can dominate the 12th dimensional fields. If we go into the Metatronic invasions and parasitic invasions in the earth, that's kind of what that represents, is this level of fallen human consciousness all the way into the 12D. So the 3D, the 5D, you know, you're completely free and ascendant in 5D. That in itself is kind of a hoax, because polarity and levels of it do exist in every single dimensional field on this earth. It is impossible because I guess not incorporate that in some way, because of the structure of the cosmos and the universal system in which we lived in. It's a barred system. We have poles in our universal matrix. We have poles in our planetary field. We're always going to be riding the ascension spirals and descension spirals of those polar shifts. Yeah, I think it would help this higher consciousness community to really have more detailed levels of ascension mechanics, spiritual mechanics, light body mechanics. How do these things actually really work? And I think that would help give people more clarity and help align them more to their gnosis.
Here's the $1 million question. Many people believe in the Ashtar Command and the Galactic Federation and Galactic of the Worlds and this galactic, that galactic, there's so many. What makes you understand the ones that you're tapped into are not of that infiltration?
Mm-hmm.
And then similarly, why do you believe that those ones are the ones that are infiltrated? if you're looking for that instant gratification for your skin, like if you're like, you're looking in the mirror and you're like, geez, I just wish I could just go a little bit tighter, a little lift every day. This is a little this is it. You know, I said the other day, it's like everybody loves to have a great hair day, but how about having a great face day?